So much, Larry. I enjoyed the Mi Viejo San Juan that you did a little while earlier. Made me emotional. All right. Are we ready to go? All right. Once again, I'm Jessica Coscia. I am your MC today. But I won't be talking a whole lot during this lunch program. I'll leave it up to the professionals in a little while. So first and foremost, this is the lunch program. For those of you tuning in online, on live stream, this is the lunch portion of the program. So if you haven't eaten lunch today yet, go ahead and grab a bite and eat along with us during the lunch portion. To get started, once again, let's thank Mr. Larry Bellorin. He is our harpist today, our entertainment for today. Thank you, sir. And I'm up here to welcome yet another Larry, Mr. Larry Wooten. He is our host today. So he's the man of the house today. We've kept him really busy all day today, and the work continues, sir. So Mr. Larry Wooten is the president of the North Carolina Farm Bureau, and I would like to welcome him up here to the podium. He will be introducing our keynote speaker today. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Jessica, and it's certainly my pleasure to be back with you again. It's been a great conference this morning. I've learned a lot, enjoyed it, and certainly I hope all of you have as well. But today at lunch, you're in for a real treat. We are honored. It's an honor for us to have with us today at our lunch as our keynote speaker. And it's certainly an honor for me to introduce Dr. Rich Bonanno. Rich Bonanno, I've known for many years. Rich Bonanno he's a native of Massachusetts. He got to North Carolina. He'd been to North Carolina. He went back to Massachusetts, and he got back to North Carolina just as fast as he could. And we're glad that he's here. Rich Bonanno is a farmer. He owns and operates a farm just south of Boston, Massachusetts. And he and his family grow vegetables and bedding plants. As I said, I've known Rich Bonanno many years. In addition to all of the work that he did with the University of Massachusetts, Rich Bonanno served as president of the Massachusetts Farm Bureau. We have a Farm Bureau in all 50 states of the United States. And Rich was my counterpart in Massachusetts and did a great job there. But in 2015, we needed an associate dean and a director of the Cooperative Extension Service in North Carolina, and we reached out because we wanted the best. We reached out to Rich Bonanno, and in 2015, as I said, Rich became the associate dean and director of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. I know this, ladies and gentlemen, from experience and knowing this man well. You will not find a better advocate for agriculture. You will not find a better advocate for our state's farmers. You will not find a more passionate person about agriculture, more professional, more qualified, and more knowledgeable about what the needs and the challenges are for agriculture in North Carolina, and not only here, but he's an authority across the United States. With that, it is my honor to present to you our speaker this afternoon, Dr. Rich Bonanno. Rich.
So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm a little out of my element here because I'm tied to this podium because of the live stream, and I don't get to walk around. And if I could do this in the seat of a tractor, I'd be much happier. But it is great to be here. I want to spend some time this afternoon talking to you a little bit about extension, what we do at NC State University on behalf of agriculture, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about farming and kind of relate to some of the things I heard this morning and what what people are doing. I'm sorry because of the room and everything, we can't do slides, and I had some great farm pictures I wanted to show you, but we'll have to give that up for now. So a little bit about extension first. So as you know, as I work at NC State University in Raleigh, it's one of our land grant institutions. Which means that we are a public university, and one of our missions is agriculture. And extension specifically is really an educational partnership between many entities: the federal government, the state government, county government, North Carolina A&T State University, NC State University, that helps people put research-based knowledge to work for the prosperity of people in North Carolina. And there is a land-grant university, at least one in all 50 states, which is a great thing. The great thing about extension also with North Carolina is we've had some good funding. And from all of the entities, from the county government all the way up to the federal government, it allows us to have a fully staffed office in all 100 counties in North Carolina, plus the Cherokee Nation up in the mountains. And that gives us a real breadth of connectivity to the public, which not every state enjoys. So 101 county offices between our county-based people and our campus-based people. We have just under 967 people that work for us in Extension. We support about 1,700 jobs in the state. We have a broad web presence, a broad face-to-face presence. Our web hits approach 3 million web hits a year on our sites. We have 1.8 million face-to-face contacts with people in North Carolina. And over the course of the year, we run over 13,000 educational programs that span everything from food and nutrition programs to youth development to agriculture. We are part of a land-grant system that really has three pieces to it. It starts off with teaching undergraduates and graduate students. It also is a place to do research or to develop new knowledge. And that knowledge in our land-grant universities, especially in the area of agriculture, natural resources, forestry, and so forth, is nothing unless we can get that information out to the people that can use it. And as I mentioned, we have three main parts of extension. We have agriculture, which is probably half of our enterprise, but we also have 4-H, which is youth development, citizenship, leadership, STEM education, and then we also have our food and nutrition programs where we work to educate people that might be on food stamps, SNAP, WIC, and other government programs, and really to the public at large, and trying to help them make better food choices to make their lives healthier and to make the lives of their family members healthier. And that's part of what we do. So again, I mentioned we've got a great web presence. We have, every county has a website. We have many university websites. No matter where you are in North Carolina, you can connect to one of our offices, see where it is, see who works there, see what they do, make connections, and partake of all the opportunities that we have. We've got some specialized programs to kind of help, especially newer farmers, smaller farmers, people coming in, getting into the business. A new one we have is actually called North Carolina Farm Link. And North Carolina Farm Link is a way to connect. Sometimes there's people that have land but don't have anybody utilizing it, and they're looking for somebody to come in and maybe start farming that land. And so we have the opportunity to sort of connect people in, but also we have people that are looking to farm. And as many of you know, regardless of your background or your means in many cases, it's difficult to get into agriculture. Land is a huge investment. And even if you're renting it, it's an investment. Equipment, what to do about labor, marketing, all of these pieces. And so the other half of this program is for helping people to find land, whether it's to purchase or whether it's to rent. And a lot of times we're working with smaller people that are just getting into the business and helping them with their first piece of property. Another program that we have, it's actually a collaboration between East Carolina University and North Carolina A&T State University and NC State, is called the Agri-Medicine Program. And the Agri-Medicine Program is a program that is geared towards all of agriculture. It focuses a lot on farm workers, and in many cases Hispanic farm workers, to make sure that they can stay healthy on the farm, give them some education as it relates to just personal safety, pesticide safety, and to make sure that that when they enter a farming operation, that they have all the right precautions so they can not get hurt and again stay healthy. But also part of that program is for farmers. To make sure that we give farmers the tools to make the right decisions, that they have the right equipment. They're thinking about all the ways that they could possibly get hurt on the farm, and to make sure that they mitigate those things. So it covers equipment safety, pesticide safety, driving on the roads. We also are starting to work with farmer stress and farmer health, because so many farmers, it's difficult for many farmers to make ends meet. I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the comments I heard earlier today about prices in the markets and so forth. And this is a very, very common thread in agriculture, unfortunately, that many of us have to deal with. We do a lot with produce, food safety, regulations, trying to get people to understand everything that's required of them by state government, by federal government. It seems that no matter where you are and what you're doing, every year there's something else that you have to worry about. There's some other rule that relates to labor. There's some other rule that relates to pesticide use. There's some other rule that relates to food safety. There's some other rule that relates to how you drive equipment up and down the road. And we need to understand that. We've got great organizations like Farm Bureau and others that work with us to try to make sure the regulations are the best they can be. But food safety is a real big one the last 3 or 4 years. A lot of farmers need training. We have a couple of great people that work on the fresh produce side. One of them is actually Hispanic that we've got from Florida, and her name is Elena Torres. And great, she's bilingual. She mostly works in the western half of the state, but she's been a really great resource for people to be able to learn about food safety. One that I really want to highlight is a program called Juntos. And some of you may know Juntos. Who knows Juntos in the state? So Juntos means what? Together. And it's a program that really started at NC State. Cynthia Aguilar is here, and she's, Cynthia, raise your hand. And she's one of the people that helped found Juntos. So the goal with Juntos, we have a lot of youth that we work with. And we know that if we work with youth and help them with leadership and citizenship and STEM education, one of our goals is to try to encourage kids to move forward in life, to think about higher education, to think about what they can be, whether they end up going someplace else or bringing knowledge back to their home communities. It's really important to give kids the best opportunities we can give them. Particularly in the Hispanic arena, it's been a little difficult. And I can relate to this to my own family. When I was, second generation from Italy, and I grew up and my parents didn't want me to do anything. I couldn't go to friends' houses. I couldn't get involved in anything. It was like, no, I realize you're graduating from 8th grade and there's a big party, but you can't go because it's family and you have to stay home and you have to pull weeds in the celery or something. And so we understand that a lot of kids, they just have issues with getting engaged. And what Juntos really does is it primarily focuses on 9, 10, 11, 12th grade students and tries to prepare them and shows them that the opportunities that are out there, especially when it comes to higher education. So there are county-based programs in many counties around the state. Diana Urieta is here. Diana, you in the room? There you are. Diana is our current administrator, extension specialist for Juntos that works across the many counties in North Carolina. There's a connection to NC State. The goal, of course, is we love to have as many of those students come to NC State as possible. But the reality is we're just looking for kids to have opportunities and to think about how they can get into college. And we've got some great success stories with Juntos. I'll give you a few metrics. 87% of the students feel confident they will continue their education after high school. 95% of the students in Juntos report that the Juntos program helped them feel like they belong at school. 100% of Juntos seniors graduate from high school. So really, really great metrics for Juntos. And Juntos, as an extension program, was so successful in trying to get kids to come into agriculture programs that the entire NC State University ended up embracing Juntos and felt that it was a great way to get kids regardless of which college they wanted to go to at NC State, even if it was engineering or sciences or human studies, human arts, and so forth, that it would be a way for them to get into the university. So Juntos has been incredibly successful. And in fact, Diana doesn't even work for me anymore. She works for NC State University now as part of a higher level. And it just shows the testament how Juntos has really grown in North Carolina. But one of the really also great things about Juntos is that other states have watched this program. And again, this is really critical, because if we want to increase the success rate of people, get more of, no matter what group we're working with, but in this case, Hispanic people being more involved in not only farming, but industries that expand farming, government, and some of the people you saw this morning, private industry, and so forth. We need to get more kids with the right education to be able to get into those programs. So Juntos has also been embraced. We have memorandums of understanding with several other states, and they include currently Iowa, Oregon, New York, Texas, Florida, Nebraska, Nevada, California, Illinois, Alabama, Wisconsin, and our two newest states are Indiana and Idaho, that have embraced Juntos, the NC State program, as being something that they feel in their own states has been incredibly valuable for them to move forward. The other thing, even with an extension, we look at the people that we hire. We try to have a very broad group of people that work for us. Our goal always is that the diversity that we have within our university, within extension, reflects the diversity that we have in the state. It was mentioned already this morning about how important it is for people to feel that there's a broad diversity in people that they're dealing with, so they understand not just that there's people that can relate to their own personal situations, but they see opportunity in their futures. So within our college, we are constantly looking at how these numbers work. We're a little bit below, I will admit, at NC State. About 5% of our students are Hispanic versus 9% or so in the population in North Carolina. But I will say that from a hiring standpoint for faculty, of about the 80-odd faculty that we've hired in the last 3 years, about 25% of them are Hispanic. Now, one of the things that's interesting is not everybody reports themselves as Hispanic. So we hired 21 new faculty, but only 9 of them said they were Hispanic. We hired them anyways, okay, because they were great, but not everybody reports it. So sometimes even our reporting numbers are down because people choose not to self-report. So just something that comes up that we deal with. From an education and access standpoint, I really believe that in order to increase Hispanic participation in agriculture and really the overall agricultural industry, we need to, one, and I mentioned this, increase the number of students in 4-H, high school, Juntos, and the university that are going to get advanced degrees. And also to ensure that the Hispanic community, just like every other community, needs to have equal access to all of our services, lending, extension, FSA, NRCS, all of the opportunities that people have to be able to connect their farms. And especially for new people coming into agriculture, you've got to have this connectivity. You just can't go down to any bank and walk in and say, hey, guess what, I want a farm. I need $100,000 to get going. It's difficult to make all that happen. And we need to make sure that all those opportunities are across the board. And also just understand that when we talk about agriculture, it's just like when we talk about the value of agriculture in North Carolina being above $90 billion. Understand that that's not just farm gate. That's not just what we produce on the farm. That is a very broad, encompassing number of everything that's involved in the agricultural enterprise. Right down to food manufacturing, other related industries, they're all connected. And therefore, the opportunities for people when they get into agriculture is not just farming. It does include industry. It does include government, being involved with commodity groups and other support organizations that exist. And education, teachers at the high school level and beyond, the university, cooperative extension. And again, at the university level, we try to offer a broad range of opportunities. So we've got a 2-year program, the Ag Institute, and we've also got our 4-year program. Just something to keep in mind that there's a lot going on. Now I want to take my university hat off for a minute and just kind of put my farmer hat on and just talk about a couple of things here. So my family's been in farming since 1910. And every farmer's had a story. My great-grandfather was born in Italy. He was an orphan. He grew up in a monastery. When he finally was able to farm, he became a sharecropper. When he finally had the opportunity to leave, he did. Came to the United States, brought his family over a couple of years later. After being in this country 4 years, he was able to buy 100 acres of land. I don't even know how he pulled that off, but we've been farming ever since. So this is our 110th growing season. We have bedding plant greenhouse business, fresh market vegetable business. We have a fall hardy mum business, very family oriented. I'm 4th generation. My daughter, I have 3 girls. My youngest daughter is now running the farm. So one of my really criteria when I decided to leave, because when Larry said I left and I got back as soon as I could, the reality was it was 27 years I was gone farming and had to make a whole nother daughter, get her all grown up and get her to college because the oldest one is a special ed teacher. The middle one was in the Air Force. So I didn't have a farmer. So we made one more and we got one. She is actually running the farm. She's 27 now. I left her when I was 24, but my father's going to be 90 in a couple of weeks, and he's still there. And we've had a lot of the great employees over the years. And Nolo, I'll mention, we've had a lot of people from Puerto Rico over the years that have worked for us, and they've all been from Jayuya. So if anybody knows Puerto Rico and Jayuya up in the mountains, and Luis Sanchez was the guy. So Luis Sanchez worked for us for 30 years, and he was the guy when I was growing up. So everything we needed that had to do with the fields, it was like Louis says, oh, that lettuce isn't ready, or you better get out there, you think you're harvesting 50 eggplants today, you better make it 100 because they're going to be too big. But Louis was somebody that was always there with us. We had a great group of people from Puerto Rico that worked. Now we're mostly H2A, and our workers come from Jamaica. But Louis was such a part of our family and our business that when Louis passed away, I bought his gravestone. Just because the family needed help, and so that was my contribution to sort of Louis being on the farm. But just some things that I just want to relay to you real quickly is that every farmer struggles, especially when you're in a business that is perishable. Prices are not good no matter where you are. We were talking about getting paid. There is a federal law, that, especially on the produce side, that when you sell something that's perishable, you have to be paid within 2 weeks. And that's something that everybody is aware of. And sometimes you make deals with certain supermarkets, like Whole Foods pays in 30 days, and some people pay in 60 days. But one of the chains we sell with pays us in 14 days. But what we found is that just being in the wholesale business is not always the best place to be, especially when you're dealing with a perishable commodity. So in addition to continuing to be selling to supermarkets and selling to institutional food buyers, we also sell to other farmers that sell our product in their farm stands and their CSAs and their farmers markets that they go to. But so we do CSA. We have a CSA. We sell to farmers markets at farmers markets. We have a farm stand at the farm. We try to be as diversified as we can. We try to be as value added as we can when we have the opportunity to. We're not just in the vegetable business anymore. We used to be in the hog business at one time as well and also raise fruits. But now we've got a greenhouse business. As I mentioned, we grow fall hardy mums. I hate to say it, but flowers, we make more profit growing flowers than we do growing vegetables. And that's just how it is. People buy food every day. They don't want to pay a lot for it. They don't buy flowers every day. They're willing to pay a little bit more for it. And that's how we make our money. And we do value added. We do romaine hearts. We do things where we can get closer to the customer from a retail standpoint. We grow ethnic vegetables, things like chipolene, mashishi, other crops that hit certain ethnic markets where we have that target. In North Carolina, there's a great opportunity because we have a lot of people moving to the state. They're mostly moving to urban areas, and it's also a very diverse population. They have a lot of these, but they also like to buy local in a lot of cases, especially when it comes to the fruits and vegetables. And if you can get into those markets, you can have more opportunity. There's more of that final retail dollar that you can get when you do that. So just something to think about, that this is, there are opportunities for people, there are marketing opportunities, there are production opportunities. It's great. People, the public, have so many different needs and wants and beliefs about food and how it's grown and where it comes from. There's opportunity for just about anybody to get into the business. And you've got to figure out a production model that's profitable for you. You can't be in a production system where you lose money every year. Farming should not be like owning a boat. Okay, you should make money when you're doing it, and that's really the goal. And that's why we've been so diversified over the years and into so many different crops. We even do shamrocks for St. Patrick's Day. Whatever works. Our retail greenhouse business is expanded. My daughter's going to start selling Christmas trees this year, because she sees the opportunity from our retail business to be able to do it. So sort of in conclusion on the farmer side, I will say this, that for people getting into the business, or the people that are already in the business, the more diversified you are, the better off you're going to be. The more you can have a value-added product, the better off you're going to be, and the closer you can get to the final consumer and those final dollars, the better off you're going to be. And sort of an overall conclusion, I would say this, and we're talking about Hispanics and Hispanic farmers who are focusing on that, but I will submit to you that everybody, all farmers, most farmers have the same issues. And so first, there's room for all farmers, I believe, under this tent that we have of agriculture, because there's so much opportunity out there. It's just a question of figuring out how to grab it. The local food movement is a great way to help smaller and local farmers. Farmers have to be innovative and find innovative ways to stay in business. A lot of that is diversity. Farmers need access to technology. It shouldn't just be, the technology for people that aren't in agriculture. Technology is something we need across the board, whether it's equipment, whether it's our ability to track data or to track inventory on our farms, or to grow our crops. Technology is incredibly important. The need for our universities is incredibly important. Farmers need support from the public. It's very, very important for farmers to connect with the public to understand their food supply, to understand where their food comes from, to be able to have a trust factor with farmers. And that's a great thing also about local food, but just agriculture in general. That support from the public is very important. And sometimes I feel like we don't always have that. Farmers need each other. Okay, very important to have farmers needing each other. I was just tell you really quick story, then I got just like a final comment. I was at a field day one time in Massachusetts. We had gotten a new commissioner of agriculture. And he was a guy that really, he wasn't a farmer, but he ended up as commissioner of agriculture. So we're at a small fruit field day. And we're at somebody's farm, and they're talking about their strawberries, and they put up these big PVC pipes, all holes in the side, and they're growing strawberries up these towers. And everybody's milling around and saying, what variety are you using? And what's your biggest pest issue? And how are you fertilizing? And how much water does it take? And when are you harvesting? And how are you marketing? And how much are you selling the strawberries for? And this farmer's just answering all the questions, just like you asked him, like, is today Tuesday? And after about 15 to 20 minutes, the commissioner had just been appointed. It was like his first month. So I'm in the back of the crowd, and he comes out and he grabs me and he pulls me away like 100 feet behind everybody else. And he says, I don't get it. I don't get this. I said, what don't you get? He said, you people share everything. He said, who does that? What kind of business does that, where you just share all this information? And they're not buying it from this guy. I said, listen to me. I said, there aren't enough of us. And we need each other. And if this guy goes out of business and that guy goes out of business, maybe that tractor dealer's not there anymore. Or maybe that fertilizer distributor's not there anymore. The guy that supplies the boxes or the clamshells that put the raspberries in. And so people need each other. And that's why we share, and that's why we're like a family. And it doesn't matter where you came from or your background. We all need to work together and be together. And farmers need the next generation. Somebody mentioned this morning about the kids and whether they're going to stay in agriculture, whether they're going to go do something else. we need to make sure that we create the right opportunities for people that want to stay in business. It was said this morning, yeah, food's pretty important. It's pretty good. We all eat. It's right there behind air and water. Okay, right there behind air and water. And so working together and being a family and trying to figure it all out is something we need to do. And the only way we can do that is for all of us to be part of that solution. So I thank you for the opportunity to be here. Parting point, I believe not in pointing out our differences, but rather in celebrating our similarities. So thank you so much for listening.
Thanks once again to Mr. Bonanno for sharing those words of inspiration today during our lunch program. One more round of applause for him before we leave. Send him off the right way. Once again, thank you to the North Carolina Farm Bureau for sharing these state-of-the-art facilities with us today, and also for sponsoring that delicious lunch. So thanks to them. And we would be remiss if we didn't point out that there's one individual in this room who's really helped us a whole lot throughout this process. She's made sure that this event was carried off without a hitch from the North Carolina Farm Bureau side. Tiffany Riley, are you in this room by chance? Hi, Tiffany. If you could come on up to the front so that we can thank you properly.
So there is somebody mentioned about poems this morning. So I'll tell you about my favorite. It's Jorge Guillén. He's a Spanish poet from generation of the 27. Anyway, he says something that I always remember when I remember the most important thing about what many people had said about this concept of agriculture is amigos y nada más. El resto, la selva. Friends and nothing else. The rest is a jungle. And everything that we do every day, if you don't make a friend, you have to start again. So I have made a friend here with Tiffany. She's been great. And we're giving you something really little for you and your daughter. Thank you. I just want to end by saying that in the same thing about the friends, I have to say that Larry's been a wonderful friend to us, and we have worked on a number of different things, and you hosting us and being so gracious and so kind. Thank you, Larry, and for your leadership and your friendship. I also want to tell you that as a Puerto Rican, my dad served as Secretary of Agriculture for the island, and the reason why I came to North Carolina was because of a friend of his that was a commissioner of agriculture that many of you would know, Jim Graham. I was on my way to Wisconsin, and I ended up in North Carolina. Right. And then Governor Hunt and people like that have been so good. But I also want to talk about some of the friends from North Carolina, and I want to talk about a friend from Argentina that I met here, Marina. Marina has been great in the organizing of the conference. She is a publisher for Que Pasa. Que Pasa is actually sponsoring with us part of the conference. And you have seen some of these posters that are posters developed by students that have worked as interns in the summer with NRCS. And they are significance of some of the things that they have done in practices in Mississippi, North Carolina, Culebra, Puerto Rico, and we will select the winner. Que Pasa is going to help us with recognizing that winner. And again, we have built friends through that process as well. So this is not anything but a family, a big family that Dr. Bonanno has said. And since he is here, and I'm going to recognize someone that has been really good to us and a good friend to our program is Mr. Barry Hamilton. Thank you so much that you're here. He was the first person that I new when we started working on this effort of doing outreach. So it is just about friends. So again, thank you, Larry, for hosting us. And this is a great facility, and we will do it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nolo. We do have other folks in this room that we want to take the time right now to thank. Long list of sponsors, folks that helped us organize this event. This event wouldn't have been possible without them. Their list they're listed on the back of your program. But please help me in thanking Nolo Consulting, first and foremost, for organizing the event. USDA, thank you, USDA, for your participation. Of course, once again, the Farm Bureau of North Carolina. We wouldn't have a place to sit today without you guys. Thank you so much. North Carolina Cooperative Extension. Fresh Central, thank you. BAS, or Business Acceleration System. And of course, all of the individuals involved in the tireless efforts to organize and present the first Hispanic Farmers and Agricultural Professionals Conference here in North Carolina. May there be many, many more. Thank you. All right, and as Nolo mentioned, these contest winners, they'll be recognized later on. Que Pasa will provide them with a cash prize. These posters were displayed upstairs earlier. But take a moment to look at them, to enjoy them. They will be back upstairs later on. And then also, if you want to take a look at all of the entries, you can either go to the Que Pasa Media Facebook page. Is that right, Marina? The sort of, yeah, maybe later. And then also, if you want to go over to LatinoFarmersUSA.com, that's where we're live streaming today as well. They're displayed there as well. So, Nolo, did you want to say a couple of words about the internship program, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that we will have an opportunity to listen this afternoon is careers in agriculture and the efforts to get youth and good talent into agriculture beyond what is the general, call it knowledge or stereotype idea. I think that one of the things that I can say about the internship is giving an opportunity to close gaps that are cultural, in this case, language, and that's what we have focused. Try to give students that are bilingual an opportunity to understand how the USDA and all the agencies, including those that are also more local, have opportunities for them that could open their eyes to a job that they never thought about. And one of the things that I think we discover ourselves is that we actually learn more about the students than we ended up learning about the agencies. The students' energy, intention, and desire have in many ways built opportunities that they built themselves. It wasn't really the way we thought it was going to be. The success of the program is the actual students. If you guys listen to, for example, the panel and listen to one of the students, which was a farmer, he was one of our interns, and the knowledge that he has and the talent was displayed throughout his effort. So the program has been incredibly successful. In the little island of Culebra, with the opportunity that was opened up with NRCS and the connection with Juan Carlos, we ended up completing a book of 20 different conservation practices that the students actually wrote themselves. And that's going to be used to teach younger kids and community leaders, and it's bilingual. So that's the kind of experience that we're trying to proactively promote. And we have had 29 students. We hope to recruit thousands and thousands more in years to come. So that's what that is.
Thank you once again, Nolo. Thank you, Nolo Consulting, for that ambitious goal. You heard it, thousands and thousands more. So let's help that happen. Thank you very much, sir. And thanks to the folks at Nolo Consulting for everything that you do, not only in the area of agriculture, but in other areas as well to help to promote the Hispanic community and to move the community forward. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm excited to arrive at this portion of the program. We're going to head back upstairs for some of the last sessions of the day. But now it's time to say goodbye. So we're done with the program down here. For those of you tuning in online via the live stream, virtually thank Mr. Rafael Osuba, who has been facilitating that live stream today. Thank you, sir. And you may want to write a note down, those of you joining us in this room and online, PowerPoint presentations from everything that was going on throughout the day. Those will be available online, as well as recordings from the sessions throughout the morning, the luncheon, as well as the sessions in the afternoon. So tune in again next couple of days, and we'll have those available for you. So thanks so much for tuning in online. All right. For those of you here in the room with us, if you have your programs with you, you can take a quick look at your programs and plan out that game plan for the rest of the day. If you don't have the programs with you, just a quick reminder, the producers and farmers track workshops, those will take place in the main auditorium. That's where we got started this morning. Simultaneous translation will be taking place in that room as well, similar to the morning. So if you have your equipment with you, don't forget it. Bring it with you. And then our student track workshops, those folks who are interested in those workshops, you're going to join me in a conference room that is located right behind the North Carolina Rural Center booth in our exhibit hall. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. Our final sessions, again, will take place from 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. At that time, we're going to come around and collect those evaluations, and then you'll also have some time to visit the exhibit hall once again on your way out. So thank you so much, and we will see you guys upstairs. We'll have folks in the hallways helping to get you there. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.